I'm Jesse Waters, along with Katie Pavlich, Capri Cafaro, Dana Perino, and Michael Loftus. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. Several major stories to tell you about tonight, including the media praising Nancy Pelosi over impeachment while trashing Republicans. And one pundit even bringing up the KKK to attack Mitch McConnell. That's all coming up, but let's start with this. A major development in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. The FBI reportedly investigating the pedophile predator's alleged madam, Ghislaine Maxwell, and several other people who helped the dead financier facilitate sexual abuse. So Dana, she was someone that recruited and groomed and allegedly even maybe participated in some of the sexual activities, and this is not good if she's being investigated for her.
I feel like it would be bigger news if we found out the FBI was not investigating her.
Yeah, that's true.
Because she really has been, any of the accusers have pointed to her as somebody that was the recruiter and basically that ruined their lives. And remember also, she's been playing like this game of cat and mouse with the FBI when all of the Epstein stuff broke and he got arrested. Then remember the story of her? She was in California at an In-N-Out Burger and it was on the big photograph, and turns out the whole thing was staged. She's a con artist, and I just think it would be surprising if she wasn't being investigated.
Yeah, she came from a very wealthy, successful family, and from what it looks like, she helped cover up a lot of the problems that were in a lot of the locations in the island and the estate and down in Palm Beach, Katie.
Yeah, so what I found interesting is the FBI is saying this is still in its very initial stages.
Right.
They aren't accusing her of any wrongdoing yet, but it's very obvious given her association with everything that if they weren't talking to her, it would be a major problem. Now, let's remember that the FBI went to the island and got all of that evidence that we still haven't heard a whole lot about. They're probably going through all of that, and they probably have some questions about his behavior, whether he had tendencies to be suicidal. There's a lot of questions about his behavior and whether that was going to line up with what we know now about his death.
She'd also been accused of helping lure teenage girls from overseas with the promise of jobs in the fashion and the modeling industry.
I've done actually a lot of work back in Ohio extensively on the issue of human trafficking from a legislative perspective. Places like Ohio, in the middle of the country with a lot of interstates and connectivity, crazily are hotbeds of human trafficking. So one of the things that I think I'm glad to see that federal law enforcement is looking at this woman. She is part of grooming behavior. She is obviously engaging in a pattern of criminal activity. But if there are states like Ohio that she is somehow engaged in activity, whether or not these girls are American or not, it might actually be able to expedite this process for her. So if it's Florida, for example, and they have stronger laws at the state level that they can expedite, throw all the charges, as far as I'm concerned.
And she hasn't been charged yet. Maybe the feds are potentially using some leverage in her case. Maybe she has a lot to share about co-conspirators, and maybe she plea bargains. Who knows what could happen?
I am a bottomless well of I just want more of this. I just it scares me. Like mob justice is a real thing, and I would definitely, if this was the Old West, I'm signing up for this posse. I want to know everybody involved. I want people to talk. I want people to get in trouble. As a parent and just as a human being, it just makes my blood boil. Yeah, I should say this because I'm not making fun of Epstein, but I'm not suicidal and I'm in very good health.
And also just about how the rich and famous get away with things for so long. Don't forget, she's also, this comes after the Prince Andrew disastrous interview in the UK. They were friends. And also Peter McMahon, husband to this host, sent me an article today from the Telegraph saying, revealed, Duke of York set up secret investment fund under assumed named Andrew Inverness about 6 years ago.
There's just so much we don't know. And because Jeffrey Epstein is dead, the only justice is through his associates who were possibly complacent or are advocates for his behavior.
Right. And it looks like more and more victims are coming forward. All right. Now to our other top story, more outrageous liberal media bias. The press once again smearing Republicans over impeachment while praising Pelosi.
He is now the third president of the United States impeached, in part because of how masterfully she's led this.
And is really one of the most masterful parliamentarians of our time.
She has been masterful legislatively, masterful in holding her caucus, controlling her caucus.
She is his kryptonite.
She is.
Donald Trump plays whack-a-mole and she plays chess.
Okay. And a CNN guest invoking the Ku Klux Klan when talking about Mitch McConnell.
And for Mitch McConnell to say he's working with the White House, coordinating with the defendant in this trial before the trial has even begun is atrocious. He may think he's a judge impaneling an all-white jury for a Klansman trial in Mississippi in 1965.
I mean, this is
not the kind of trial.
I'm sorry, but this is.
Well, I'm glad Santorum pushed back there. Yeah. Katie, I mean, atrocious comparison. You come to expect this, but it looks like the memo got out about masterful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
so I have some advice for like the leftist progressive media, the people who are sending these emails out, like the groups, like Media Matters, for example, maybe. Send out a couple different emails with different talking points because it's so obvious that everyone's using the same word, masterful, bombshell, It happens every single time.
Do you get these emails?
I do, and I actually don't look at them on purpose because I don't want to accidentally start to play into that. I get them, Chuck Schumer sends them out. There's a whole host of
unsubscribe to all those.
I'm curious sometimes. I actually looked at it during the initial impeachment stuff. Yeah. I was in England and not on TV at all, so I was just curious to see. But you got to be careful with the talking points. I would say this: invoking the Ku Klux Klan is like people throwing around Nazi.
Right.
But that too.
And I would
go there.
You can say the same kind of thing without being that incendiary. Make your point without invoking the Klan, please.
Well, I think they incentivize some of this bomb throwing on cable TV. I'm never, ever
we're not like
responsible
that.
for any of that really inflammatory language on this network, but obviously it's rewarded another
He has, Richard Painter, somebody I worked with at the end of the White House years in the Bush administration. I haven't talked to him since, but he seems to have no Ku Klux idea what he's talking about here. How upsetting it is for people who they're going to work every day, they're representing their constituents. If they think that what Nancy Pelosi has done is okay, and that it's okay to send it over to the Senate, to me that is more talk about mob justice. In a way, I feel like that by holding it back and not giving the president and the Republicans a chance to have the trial like it says in the Constitution, that to me is unconstitutional.
Yeah. I just can't believe they played the race card in impeachment. I didn't see that coming.
Of a white guy.
Whenever there's a big thing going on in the media and there's a Republican in trouble, it's like that Kevin Bacon game, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Mm-hmm. But Painter is he's playing 1 degree of racism. He's like, I'm gonna take it to the Klan right now. He just didn't. There was no racist foreplay, just bang, straight to racism. Right?
A whole jury of them, not just one guy, but a whole jury of Ku Klux Klan members.
And I want to bring back Pee Wee Herman for the word of the day.
See the sacred word.
Historic.
Say the secret word.
It's Nancy Pelosi. Masterful was the secret word of the Democrat media.
Yeah, you touched on that. So let's dial in on some of these emails that go out because we've heard unprecedented. That's something that gets repeated a lot. Constitutional crisis. You get these emails in the morning, and they have masterful. Unprecedented constitutional crisis.
Well, we can't. Here's the thing, that we got to be honest with the fact that Democrats and Republicans both send out talking points.
The media doesn't.
Unsubscribe to all of them. That's my advice.
I haven't gotten any of the Republicans.
But you're not. Doesn't repeat the Republican talking points like it's what they're supposed to be saying instead of coming up with original ideas. And if you're saying what you're being sent in emails directly, and everyone's saying the same thing, and you're then invoking the Klan and racism, you've already lost the argument. And your question should really be, we can't have a trial in the Senate until Nancy Pelosi sends over the articles.
Was
so
the
what
Klan
are they doing over there?
in the memo this morning? Right. Was that in there?
We've always been told in politics to stay on message, but you know what? The American public is sick of people staying on message, and I think that the last few years have proven that. So my tip to Democrats and Republicans are just say what you think.
All right. We do it here. I haven't gotten an email yet. No one emails me.
Yes, they do.
Someone's going to say something about that. Coming up, 2020 liberal insanity. Mayor Pete has a major announcement about drugs. Wait till you hear what he says about drugs.
We're gonna have a ball today. Why don't you meet me at Mary's place? Oh, meet me.
The same Life, Liberty, and Levin you love is at a brand new time. Don't miss the smart commentary at a brand new time. Now, Sunday. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That's the problem growing businesses have because of a hodgepodge of business systems. One for accounting, another for sales, another for inventory. If that's you, you know it's a mess that takes up too much time and too many resources. And that hurts the bottom line. You need NetSuite by Oracle, the cloud-based business management software that gives you the visibility and control you need to grow. With NetSuite, you save time, money, and unneeded headaches by managing sales, finance and accounting, orders, and HR instantly from your desktop or phone. That's why NetSuite is the world's #1 cloud business system. Companies that use NetSuite grow 3 times faster than the S&P 500. And right now, NetSuite is offering you valuable insights with a free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits at netsuite.com/Fox. That's netsuite.com/Fox to download your free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits. netsuite.com/Fox.
Good for the soul.
Top 2020 Democrats are wading into controversy. Mayor Pete Buttigieg raising eyebrows for saying he wants to, get this, decriminalize drug possession.
Incarceration should not even be a response to drug possession.
Is that across the board? So if it's meth or coke or ecstasy, any drugs, if it's possession, incarceration isn't.
That's right.
And Elizabeth Warren creating new problems over how she talks about her family's history. Warren's own brother reportedly furious with how the 2020 Democrat has been describing her father on the campaign trail. Listen up.
I am grateful to an America that gave the daughter of a janitor a chance. I am the daughter of a janitor. My daddy, he ended up as a janitor.
Well, Warren has previously described her dad as a maintenance man, but has recently changed it to janitor. Well, a lot to unpack there. And Dana, I want to start with you and this Mayor Pete drug decriminalization stuff. I overheard you say that's going to play really well in Iowa. So how do you feel
maybe, I mean, he's winning in Iowa, so maybe I'm wrong, but I just can't, like, when the lady from the Des Moines Register says, like, even, like, meth? He's like, yeah, he's all good with that. But that takes a little bit more explaining. He's not the only one who thinks like that. You know, there are arguments that I have listened to for a few years with our colleague, Greg Gutfeld, who actually makes really good points. And every time I walk up to the line of thinking, I could be for that, I step back. And maybe it's my own just personal biases. I think one of the most interesting political feats of the year is that Mayor Pete has been able to cast himself as this moderate person when most of his policies would make Bernie Sanders blush. He says that he wants 15 Supreme Court justices, right? He wants to abolish the Electoral College. He has a moderate tone. Right. And he looks like somebody that you'd want to have over for dinner, and like he could be your friend. But I don't know if his policies are really that moderate.
He tries to evoke this sort of Midwestern, sensibility, being from Indiana. But, Katie, I think, Dana makes a good point that if you dig a little bit deeper, maybe he's not as moderate as people see. And this kind of thing really is something where a lot more progressives are saying, well, we should just decriminalize. We'll throw the dealers in jail, but not necessarily.
So, Democrats on the campaign trail are trying to find their own version of criminal justice because that is something the president has done successfully. Mayor Pete is struggling with black voters in South Carolina. Black voters care about criminal justice reform, and that is something he's trying to put on the table as my version of this is just decriminalizing all drugs. We shouldn't be using the judicial system or incarceration to put people in prison, either short-term or long-term, for possession of these types of things, and that's what he's trying to do. Now, there will be more questions about what the impacts of that are. There's lots of debate about how legalizing marijuana has affected cities all over the country and whether it's actually been a good thing. But can I talk about Elizabeth Warren for a minute?
Sure. Oh, sure.
So,
thanks for teeing it up.
Elizabeth Warren has repeatedly and desperately tried to paint herself as a victim, whether it's lying about her parents having to elope because her mother was Cherokee, saying they were discriminated against, saying that she was fired for being pregnant when that is not what happened, lying about how she paid for school, and now she's trying to turn herself into someone you should feel sorry for or like her story because she comes from a middle-class, blue-collar home where her father was a janitor. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a janitor. Any kind of job is good work, but the problem with her is that she's lying about it repeatedly. So was he a maintenance man? Was he a janitor? And she continues to change her story based on how she thinks people feel sorry for her and how she can use it to her advantage to gain votes.
Right. Jesse, do you think
her dad was one 1/24 janitor.
Oh, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what Ancestry DNA tells her. That's the story that she's sticking to. Jesse, what do you think of this?
I thought that was a pretty good line.
Do you think that this is something that is just yet another sort of fib from a politician, or does it really hurt her credibility given some of the things that Katie said?
Well, only politicians lie about not having money. Everybody else lies about having it. It's like, why would you downgrade your own father's job?
Yeah.
To establish a stronger connection with the working class? Working class people don't care about that. If you shoot straight with working class people or fight for them, that's what they care about. I mean, look at Donald Trump or JFK. Their fathers weren't janitors. Working class Americans love those guys. But she lies about her history. She lies about her family. She lies about her heritage. She's a phony.
Speaking of being just like totally like transparent and straight up, I mean, Mayor Pete is not pulling any punches on this drug stuff. I mean, do you think that the American public is like, great, well, you're being honest about this?
Yeah, he's going after the Hunter Biden vote. Right? Like, what group of Americans want to be able to walk around with meth and needles hanging out of your pocket, and a cop just gives you a ticket?
Yeah, libertarian.
I mean, is that the society that we want to live in? Obviously not. You want sometimes for people to hit rock bottom, then they get sent to rehab. That's what family members want. Run on decriminalizing crack against Donald Trump in a general election.
Good luck.
And see how that goes.
Michael, you're gut-filled today, so what's your take? Are you going to do your gut-filled impression for us on this issue?
I don't. It's not ready yet. I'll have to unleash it on another show. Yeah, who's going after that crystal meth vote? I guess the only thing is they'll vote more than once, and then they'll try to take the voting machine apart and then rebuild it. It's insane. Yeah. It's completely insane. And now I'm just thinking, if I'm an aspiring criminal in South Bend, I'm going to rob a bank and just tell the cops, I'm on drugs.
I do wonder, though, and Katie could probably speak to this more, which is what happens with the cartel situation, though, because the cartels are from Mexico funneling drugs into the United States, and if you legalize marijuana, then the price goes down, the cartels have switched to meth or fentanyl or things like that.
Right. No, I definitely think that there are valid arguments to be made. I just think that the system is so in its place that to say that we're just going to decriminalize it across the board at this point is not a realistic thing to do. Yes, it would lower the price of drugs for cartels, which make them less powerful, and they would have less money, and they wouldn't be as violent, and they wouldn't be in the streets of Chicago necessarily selling these drugs, but someone would be. And the consequence of that is what Americans are going to have to live with. Do they want it coming from Mexico, or do they want it coming from their local communities? I think there's separate issues in terms of the economics of it and also the societal impact of what that would actually be.
Yeah, and I would definitely think that pretty much everybody has to be in favor of taking down the dealers, but that's not what this is about. Anyway, lots to talk about. But next, the new thing environmentalists want to ban. We're going to tell you what it is ahead.
Examples of liberal insanity. First up, after basically banning plastic bottles and straws, San Francisco has a new target: paper coffee cups. Some businesses there are getting ahead of the curve and are trying to phase out paper to-go cups. They're being replaced with glass jars, rental mugs, or bring your own cup policies. And all of this comes as the city continues to grapple with a devastating homeless crisis. So glass jars in San Francisco streets seem like a really good idea, Jesse.
You know what? I've changed my mind on this whole San Francisco thing. I just say, libs, have at it. Do your thing. Be weird. Trip over a homeless guy on the way to a coffee shop and shatter your glass jar on the street. That's what's going to happen. I don't care anymore. Live there. Do your thing. If people want to lose business or cut themselves with glass jars, live and learn. Live and learn. I don't actually think they care about the environment because they let the homeless people treat the city like a toilet.
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, that's true, Dana.
I agree with this idea. Like, this is what we were talking about yesterday when the president says that he'll step in to try to deal with California's homelessness crisis. There's not a lot you can do. But the hardest part of governing, I think, is at the local level. So city and state government, all those decisions that you have to make that are actually affecting people's day-to-day lives. I'm not against this. Again, like if they want to try it, but I have a feeling that this is ripe for disaster. And not just because the jars could break, but because of disease and illnesses and things like that. You have to make sure things are properly cleaned.
But imagine going to a coffee shop and saying, I'd like a large coffee, and then they say, you know, would you like to rent a mug?
No.
Like, can I just have my coffee? I gotta go.
Is it like bottle deposit was back in the day? Like you bring it back and
who's cleaning the mugs? That's the question. Like this is a plague ready to happen, right?
Here's what I want to know. Is it going to make Starbucks coffee taste any better?
No.
At some point, you're just going to walk in, they're just going to throw some grounds in your face and splash you with hot water. It's like when San Francisco can't make another worse decision, they'll go, ooh, watch this.
Yeah, but
watch
Capri,
this.
it's like they have all these real issues to deal with, and it's almost like they're doing silly things like banning paper cups after we've banned all the plastic, right? Paper was supposed to be the alternative to that, and now we're not allowed to even have that, instead of actually really focusing on hard governance at the local level.
Sure, look,
it's a distraction. The more time they spend on this and money, the less time and money they're spending on a real issue.
I agree, and I think people around this table agree, most people at home agree, but guess what? We're not the ones who are the constituents of these folks. As someone who served at the state level, it really is a local decision, and if the people don't like it, then guess what? Those elected officials are accountable to the voters. They'll vote them out.
What if you're visiting? Like what if you're on business travel and you just want to get a cup of coffee?
Then you vote. Everyone's going to be really, really angry if they can't get their coffee. But whatever. Speaking of local governance, one of the country's biggest school districts taking heat for a new policy that students in Virginia County will now be able to miss class to protest. The district announcing kids in grades 7 through 12 will have one excused absence each year for, quote, civic engagement activities. So, Jesse, are kids going to just skip school?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
If I was a student, I see it this way. If I'm a student, I love this. If I'm a parent, I don't like it. If I'm a student, I'm skipping school or I'm doing some rinky-dink thing. If I'm a parent, I don't trust the school to encourage equally the type of civil protests that are going on. Are they going to push my kid to do like a protest against paper cups?
Yeah.
Or if my kid wants to go to a tea party or an open carry rally
or a MAGA rally?
No, you can't do that.
I doubt that's how this works, though. I mean, my assumption is, I mean, first of all, we have to assume that Fairfax County, Virginia has a PTA that is engaged in the school board, and people know about this decision. But I think that it sounds, again, I don't live in Fairfax County, I don't know, but it sounds to me as if you get one excused absence and you pull that card, and whatever it is, it is. I don't think they have a say necessarily on what, you know,
how do they know that you're going to a rally?
Instagram.
Yeah, you got to take a
picture. You're going to a rally, and then you're like at the bar like this, posting later.
Dana, this seems like it might be a good idea if people want to go out and learn, but it does seem like based on the leftist indoctrination, conservative students won't get the same
all these parents think that their children are going to be the next Greta Thunberg. Like they're not. It's like thinking that your kid is going to make $1 gazillion opening boxes on YouTube. That happens like 1 in a gazillion children. And also I know you say like as a parent you don't trust them. As a taxpayer, I'm sick of it. I don't pay the local taxes in Fairfax County, but like here in New York, like, no, go to school. And you know, maybe on that day, a teacher will teach you something that will have you come up with an innovation that is going to solve a global warming.
Yeah.
I want kids in school, and also you don't protest with like. Do you think Fox News is going to say, yeah, Dana, we'll definitely pay you for take a day off of work and you can go protest downtown? You are being paid to go to school K through 12.
So, Michael, isn't this just an extension of leftist indoctrination in public schools? Because
Absolutely.
Like, this is just to teach people to go protest when there should be at work.
Yeah.
Like, we're always seeing this.
And it's only one day. Like if they intended to be fair, wouldn't it be 2 days? Right? Well, here's what's going to happen. It's going to be the one day, and then they're going to protest the popular. It'll be global warming, or they're like, let's get the paper cups out of Starbucks in Virginia. Yeah. It's going to be horrible.
And the guys are just going to whatever protest the girls are going to.
I guarantee.
That's all they care about.
If I showed up with a school bus,
we're going to women's march. I'm in. Where do we start?
Give me my hat. If I showed up with a school bus going, hey, you guys, we're going to all go protest a Planned Parenthood, this would not be an issue. They're like, well, we're proud our policy. Yeah, we don't do that. That's
all I know. When I was in college, I tried to take a day off to go to CPAC, and I had to take it all the way to the dean to get my absence excused after they allowed everyone to take off school for Obama's inauguration.
Katie, I discovered you at CPAC.
You discovered her?
I did. I put her in a little package, and that's how she got booked on Fox.
No, Jesse, I got booked on Fox because I rode the bus to go on Red Eye. I love this story.
I discovered you.
You can have the credit, but
I want full credit.
not true. I think Greg would have.
Yeah, Greg's going to.
I like how you guys met at a Tupac concert.
Anyway, President Trump responding to being cut from his famous scene in Home Alone 2. That's next in the Fastest 7.
Fox News, I'm Sal Giangrasso. Kauai police have found the wreckage site where a tour helicopter crashed last night. Kauai Fire Department Battalion Chief Saul Konoho.
At this time, we have no actionable information on the status of the passengers. Our ground and air crews continue to search for survivors.
There was one pilot and 6 passengers on board, including 2 children. Interstate 5 is reopened in Southern California's Tejon Pass after a 36-hour closure caused by a huge snowstorm. It's the last of the major highway closures to be cleared since the storm hit the region Wednesday.
The weather conditions forced authorities to close multiple roadways and highways. A big rig jackknifed on the 14 freeway, and there was also a fatal accident. A stretch of Interstate 5 called the Grapevine was closed down, stranding north and southbound travelers on either side.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Snow and ice continue to cause problems on smaller routes as a cold air mass remains in place. America's listening to Fox News.
Welcome back. It is time for the Fastest 7. Dana says it's going to be hard. First up, a Canadian television network ignited a major firestorm after cutting Donald Trump's scene out of Home Alone 2. And now the president is responding with a lighthearted jab at Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He says, I guess Justin Trudeau doesn't much like my making him pay up on NATO or trade. We discussed this a little bit yesterday. What do you think is going on,
CBC said the movie wasn't edited for political purposes.
They lie.
But for commercial time. But I also think that the president's response, when you respond with humor and a lightheartedness, it's the best way to respond.
Correct.
Absolutely.
I like how he called him Justin T, because he didn't want to risk spelling Trudeau. It's a tough one.
The EAU thing's always hard.
It's confusing.
I just roll into the autocorrect on that. Just close my eyes and hope for the best.
I have to issue a correction from yesterday because apparently this edit took place in 2014. And I was saying that it would have been censorship if they did it now because it was political, but it happened before he was president.
It did,
So I apologize for that.
Okay.
However, it's still stupid.
You took my statement. It was good. I did see yesterday that this happened in 2014, and I do think it's a little bit petty for Trump. You are the leader of the free world. Don't worry about Canada or Home Alone 2.
I think
Everyone has to worry about Home Alone 2.
they're going to have to edit Justin Trudeau out of Aladdin live action.
Gotta take away his costume.
Okay, you guys, I think we might have chosen the wrong career path because people are making a killing on social media. Soccer star Cristiano Ronaldo is raking in almost $50 million off an Instagram-sponsored post, and there's an 8-year-old YouTube sensation who made $26 million this year. Come on. Do you have an Instagram? Are you making money?
I have an Instagram. Sometimes you make money.
What?
But not that much. Not $1 million a post. That's for sure. This is why Kylie Jenner can buy her 2-year-old daughter, 1-year-old daughter, like diamond rings for Christmas.
Wow.
It's like, post, $1 million, ka-ching.
Wow.
Crazy.
I saw someplace that apparently there are camps now that parents are sending their kids to on how to become like YouTube stars.
That's
and
hilarious.
Internet stars.
Why not? I mean,
this must be the new way to, forget, getting a scholarship to an Ivy League institution or becoming a major professional sports star.
Instagram camp.
Wow.
Instagram camp.
Jesse, come on.
Change my camp registration for this summer. 26 million. I think the Ronaldo is legit. He's got a lot of followers. So that's just like any platform that you can profit from. But the kid is overrated. I saw some of these videos he does. He's not talented. I think it's almost a joke that got out of hand. Yeah. The kid's not very good at what he does.
These are
whatever he does.
Unboxing videos where look at my toy. It's horrible. Dana, come on.
Who can actually say that soccer players are dumb?
Yeah.
That's pretty smart.
No, it's brilliant.
It is smart.
My heart breaks. I remember a few years ago, there was an Instagram model from Australia, and she's like, it's all fake. It's all fake. This isn't my life. I'm paid to wear this. I'm paid to do that. And I'm like, honey, you messed up. Should have kept the ball rolling.
So much money.
I know. Why would you want to quit? Okay. Finally, it's a sign of the times in our tech-addicted and isolated world. 75% of adults say they aren't friends with any of their neighbors. That's so sad, I shouldn't be laughing. And 1 in 20 couldn't name a single person from their block.
This is my favorite
This
story
is the worst.
of the day.
Why do you like this?
This is totally me. It's like, I don't need to be friends with you. It's okay if we don't talk to each other. They also said nearly a quarter wouldn't dream of knocking on their doors uninvited because there's no sense of community spirit. I'm part of the problem.
Okay, Ohio.
I live on the same street with like 2/3 of my family, so I'm pretty sure I know them.
That's old school.
Yeah, it is old school. That's Ohio for you. And I know the one of my neighbors in DC, so.
Good for you.
Yeah, well, when you're in the burbs, it's about your lawn. Okay? People go out to the lawn and they do things in the yard. They mow, they go to the car, they fix stuff. That gives you lots of opportunity to interact with the neighborhood.
Name one neighbor.
I don't live in the suburbs anymore. But when I did, I would go across the street and knock unannounced. I need some milk. I need some butter.
Hi, I'm Jesse. I'm on Ambien. I might not remember this.
If you knock on my door, I will not answer.
I think if you are somebody who doesn't know any of your neighbors, that would be a good New Year's resolution. Like, you should know a neighbor, especially for just emergency purposes.
My neighbor. I actually do know my neighbors, but this is from being in California. You have that awkward meet and greet after an earthquake, you know?
Like, are you okay?
Hey, how you doing? Do you guys have a tent? I got a coffee maker. That's how you meet, and then it's awkward, and then you pretend like it didn't happen. Like everybody does like a walk of shame back to their
Like, I've lived here for 3 years. This is the first time we've spoken.
It is.
You guys
sounds,
are old out in
sounds like everybody needs to pay more attention to Mr. Rogers.
They really do.
Please, won't you be my neighbor?
They really do. That's a beautiful, beautiful sentiment. Won't you be my neighbor? My name is Mr. Rogers. Coming up next, Fan Mail Friday. I'm excited.
Who's doing that?
I am.
Sunday, how to win the border battle?
Here are the 3 loopholes that you can close.
Steve gets special immigration insight from Tom Homan on The Next Revolution.
That's a great song. Okay, it's Fan Mail Friday. I'm going to conduct this a la Gutfeld. Okay, number 1, the question is, we got to start with you, Michael.
Okay.
What TV show would you like to see get a reboot?
Oh my gosh. There's so many great ones that need to get a reboot, but we're living in the golden age of television, and everyone I can think of, they've already done it.
Oh my
I'm thinking,
God.
let's reboot the Star Trek. Let's redo Battlestar Galactica, but they're all fantastic. They're already being done.
Okay, you can think about it. We'll come back to you.
Okay.
I'm going to go Three's Company.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Needs a reboot.
That was
in
pretty
the
good.
era of today. That would be really funny.
Pretty fun.
Night Court. Why not?
Yep.
I feel like we need more cheesy 80s shows coming back.
Xena, Warrior Princess, obviously. It's the only show I watch.
I think Gilligan's Island could use a reboot. I think that could be fun.
Yes.
Right, that could be fun. Want
It's
to try
too
again?
frustrating.
Golden
It's
Girls.
Too frustrating.
Oh yeah,
Golden Girls good. I don't know. That's hard. Like,
No, I can't try
ruin it,
again. I'm not kidding you guys. There's so many great shows on right now.
name a show you wrote.
Name a show I wrote. Yes, we should do a reboot of the George Lopez show.
There you go. I like that show. There you go. There you go. All right. There's another Instagram question from Roxana Howe. She asked, "Were you ever in a school play? And if so, what character did you portray?" Jesse?
I was in a school play, and I forgot my lines. And the entire school laughed at me. And I sat there forgetting my lines and staring at all my friends going, and then I had to get fed lines by my teacher. And then
How old were you?
I was in 4th grade.
Okay, so this explains a lot.
Yeah.
Later on.
Good learning.
I bombed.
And then so you decided to go out and
then I
do
decided to go
ambush
on
journalism.
TV. Yeah.
Where we feed you your lines.
Right, line. I don't get those talking points in the morning.
Katie.
I was in a lot of plays, but I can't remember what I was.
Okay.
So I did some of that stuff.
You were in a play. Didn't have a big impression on you.
No, I mean, I liked it, but
You
it
were
was
stage
like...
crew.
No, it was not crew. It was a character. I just don't remember what it was.
But
So
I bet you did, Capri.
No, I was in Model UN.
Oh, Model UN. I liked Model UN. I did that. I remember when I was only 13, but I got there and they said that you're going to be the UAE. And I was like, that's not even a country.
Isn't the Model UN the greatest play of all?
Oh, it is. That's right. I was in the Girls of the Garden Club, but I can't remember what.
I saw that. I think I rented that one night.
I was also a teen.
That sounds really bad. Were you in a play or did you write a play?
I was in several plays. I'd love to write a play. When I was in middle school, junior high, I was a buddy of mine got me into. I was in Bye Bye Birdie, and I was in the chorus. And then this total loser, this total geek, was Birdie, and like he was getting all these girls. So the next year, I'm like, hello. I was Little Abner in Little Abner. The story of this hulking Southerner. The girl who played Daisy May towered over me. She could have carried me around like a potato.
Oh my God.
It was horrible. It was a wonderful experience.
I think it sounds like it. Here's a Facebook question from your favorite, Frenchie Firecracker. If you were given a time slot on a cooking show, what would be the one recipe you choose?
Ooh, as the person who's coming out with a cookbook in June. Well, I mean, I actually do cook on TV quite a bit, so I make pies. So I guess I would have to pick some kind of pie.
What kind of pie is your favorite?
Butterscotch with butterscotch pie with cookie crust, but either that or something that my grandma would make. As an Italian, I make a lot of the Italian cookies.
Okay.
Oh, my dad is such a good cook. I'm not. So either his
You could do like a barbecue. You could like barbecue some meat.
Yeah, his lasagna, his elk roast, maybe his
elk
goose roast, maybe his green chili enchiladas. He also makes apple pies in the woods in Dutch ovens. So
it's pretty good. Apple pies in the woods?
That's amazing.
Yes, the Dutch oven.
That's for your Gilligan's Island reboot.
How about you? You cook at all?
I do. I love to cook, but I would probably make ribs because you know you just kind of get them going and you just stand around and talk.
I don't know how to cook. I know how to grill. It's
Okay.
a big difference.
Would you do that? Have a show?
No.
No.
I
you're really helping me out
wouldn't
here
do that on television. Like, they always want me to do that on Fox and Friends. Like, oh, come on, cook something in the morning.
I'll take your spot, dude.
No.
I could show people how to make toast, and it would be amazing.
Toast.
I could fill an entire hour just showing people how to make
Or
toast.
queso.
All right, last question, Facebook question. This goes off to a question we earlier had. Describe your next-door neighbors growing up. Okay, you must have known when you were a kid, you must have known your neighbors.
Oh my gosh, my best friend in the whole wide world, Sean Kellison.
Yeah?
This big, giant Irish Catholic family. There was like 100,000 Kellisons. We just ran around, got into mischief, and it was just fantastic. A wonderful childhood.
Jesse?
I forget their names. It's probably a good thing. But they let their grass grow way too long, and my father got so fed up one time, he went across the street and mowed their lawn.
When were they grateful?
No, they never said anything.
Wow.
Yes.
So you didn't even know your neighbors?
Shameless. I know them. I remember them.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it.
I'm not saying.
Okay, Capri.
Well, back to the whole, like, we all live on the same street. They're my cousins. So, hey, cousins at home in Ohio, what's up? They're still on the same street. We're all still on the same
So
street.
talk some smack about
Now we're
them.
just old.
We actually have had a wonderful neighbor. She still lives there, but our neighbors were kind of far away because we lived on acreage, and she was a ceramics professor at Northern Arizona University, and she taught me how to make big ceramic things.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah,
We had Irene and Townsend, although Townsend was the last name, the Townsends, and we lived right next door to them. They were a lot older than my parents, and they had one of those station wagons where the back seat came up so you could, if you were riding in the back, you were looking backwards. You know,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about?
Cool.
Yeah, and I remember going out to pizza with them one time, so.
There you go.
Good memories indeed. One more thing is up next.
If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That's the problem growing businesses have because of a hodgepodge of business systems. One for accounting, another for sales, another for inventory. If that's you, you know it's a mess that takes up too much time and too many resources. And that hurts the bottom line. You need NetSuite by Oracle, the cloud-based business management software that gives you the visibility and control you need to grow. With NetSuite, you save time, money, and unneeded headaches by managing sales, finance and accounting, orders, and HR instantly from your desktop or phone. That's why NetSuite is the world's #1 cloud business system. Companies that use NetSuite grow 3 times faster than the S&P 500. And right now, NetSuite is offering you valuable insights with a free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits at netsuite.com/Fox. That's netsuite.com/Fox to download your free guide, 7 key strategies to grow your profits. netsuite.com/Fox. Streaming real news, real honest opinion, 24/7, 365. This is Fox News Radio.